guys, so today ang pag-uusapan natin ay ang mga tips kung paano ma-hired na mabilis. Meron tayong 15 big tips. Before applying, you must decide what kind of job do you want. The first one is to search and apply to jobs you're qualified for. So, dapat sinisigurado natin na ang trabaho na ina-applyan natin is match sa kung ano yung qualification na meron tayo. The second tip is don't stop applying for jobs while you are waiting to hear back from an employer. Sabi nga, di ba may kasabihan, try and try until you succeed. Keep applying until you get the right offer. Because the right thing for you will come at the right time. The third tip is to create a specific cover letter to help your resume get noticed. They will certainly know that you can make a letter. That would be a plus for the hiring managers to notice your application. The fourth tip is target your resume to the job. Your resume must be precisely edited. Fifth tip is you don't need to include all your experience on your resume because it will not going to impress anyone. The sixth tip is include more than full-time employment on your resume. The seventh tip is dress like a manager or a successful person in your profession. Appearances shouldn't matter so much, but they do. Dress appropriately for the type of job and company you're applying. The eighth tip is be yourself at the interview. Rehearse answers, fake smiles, and saying what you think the interviewer wants to hear instead of what you actually believe misleads the employer. Employer wants to know who they are hiring, and that's the person they expect to show up for the first day of work. The ninth tip is storytelling during a job interview is an excellent way to share your experience and skills. One way to show the employer what you are actually like is to tell a story. When you're asked questions during a job interview, relay the specific skills and experience you have, as well as how you handle the situation you're asked about. The 10th tip is never say anything bad about a previous employer. One of the most common interview mistakes is bad-mouthing your boss or co-workers. The first thing the interviewer is going to wonder is what you will say about their company when you're moving on. The 11th tip is always send a thank you note after a job interview. It's important to follow up after a job interview is a way to show your appreciation for being considered for the job. It's also a way to reiterate your interest and share anything you neglected during the interview. The 12th tip is take time to network. It's an essential component for a successful job search. Most jobs are found through networking, whether it's online or in person. Tell your connections that you're looking for a job. So the first step is to let them know. The 13th tip is reference can make a big difference in getting hired. References are important and employers check them. Get recommendation from bosses, co-workers, clients, subordinates, and suppliers. Store them on sites like LinkedIn and share them whenever possible. The 14th tip is it's acceptable to apply for the job more than once. You applied for your dream job and you didn't hear anything back from the company. Later you see the job posted again and do-over is fine. But be sure you carefully match your qualification in your resume and cover letter to the job requirements. You might be able to get a referral the second time around and find contacts at the company. The last tips are polish your shoes prior to your interview. If your interview is in person, but I don't think it's possible when it's online interview. Because there are a lot of interviews now that it's online already. Hiring managers, look at your shoes. If you don't have shoe polish, a leather or multi-purpose cleaning wipe will work. It's important to look your best from head to toe. The second 15th tip is pay attention to details. Job hunting can feel as though you're playing multitask. The second 15th tip is pay attention to details. Job hunting can feel as though you're playing a multitasking game to try to keep up. There's so much you need to pay attention when you want to impress a prospective employer. So during that interview, you must do your best and be yourself. The last 15th tip is always proofread before hitting send. Before you submit an application, online or email, a cover letter, or a thank you note, make sure to read carefully for typos. In particular, check that you spelled the company's and hiring managers' names correctly. So, we must recheck our letters if there are misspelled ones. There are times na hindi tayo matatanggap sa in-applyan natin ng trabaho. So, dapat maging handa tayo na tanggapin yon at gamitin natin yon para maging stronger tayo. So, next time na mag-a-apply ulit for a job is magiging strength na yun para makuha ka.